Hello, hello, everybody. Dowdy, what are you doing up so early? Greetings, everyone. Hello to everybody on Instagram and on Facebook and my other Facebook page profile and YouTube. Richard, we are starting right now. Um, Wherever you are joining from, shoot me a hello and let me know which city, country you are joining from. As always, one of my favorite things about these live chats is the international nature of it and seeing where everyone's from. Plamena from Germany, again, nice to see you again. I feel like I think you've been at almost all of them this year, haven't you? Let me know. I know. All right, Instagram. How we got? Okay. Just waking up to Magna. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. Hi, Sheila. Think from Brazil, right? If I'm not mistaken. We got Prasan from India. All right. So, everyone who's here, again, like I said, throw in a hello. Tell me what time zone you're in. Let me know your city. Are you joining just to listen or you got some questions to ask me today? All right. So, all right, Maite from San Antonio, Texas, Kari from Peru. Sheila's from Brazil, but now in London, all right. Brazil, I think, is on our time zone, all right. Archana from Bangalore. Wow. Vicky, I got the wave, but I don't know from where. Sorinel, Romania, but living in Berlin. All right. Very cool. Okay, so Puerto Rico in the house too, Miguel. Charmin from London. Wow, lots of London people in the house. Vicky from Nashville. Cool, cool, cool. All right, and we got on Facebook Richard, BC, Canada. Erica's from Long Beach, California. Matthew from Baltimore. Pedro from Lisbon. Dance Dojo from Medellin. Omar from Florida. See, this is my favorite part. It's like taking a trip to many places and sharing it with so many people and not leaving the comfort of my home, right? um, all right. So, for those of you who are joining for the first time and are wondering why I'm going live, this is my monthly live chat. I was trying to do it on a specific first Sunday or something like that. And honestly, like schedule and life just gets in the way. And I don't want to put that commitment on myself and also that expectation on you guys. And then for you guys to be disappointed and be like, well, she said the first Sunday and this is the first Sunday and she didn't do it. So I have committed to doing it once monthly. Whenever that schedule suits me, when I'm actually available and I can have this set up. And trust me, this is a bloody setup to try and get everything in a place. And I can't even put my feet on the table for fear of like knocking something down. Um, but yeah, these live chats are basically my opportunity to answer your questions. I get a lot of questions via email, direct messages on my social media, questions that I've gotten from students during workshops, or even my coaching clients that it's completely not even related to dance, just mindset and empowerment. And they're really great questions. And even though I'm answering it to one person individually, I can see how it could benefit all of us if we had a chance to listen to it and hear those answers and ponder those answers or even ponder the questions. So, the purpose of these live chats is to address those questions, to provide answers, and hopefully in a way that you guys can all benefit one way or another. Okay, so um, the best way to make the most of this Q&A is questions and answers, right? I have a topic, of course, now instead of having a completely open Q&A, I have a Q&A, but I also have a topic that I want to address, and this one is going to be fun, and I'm very opinionated on this. If you don't know already, you're about to find out. But I do take questions during the live chat as well. So if you are on Facebook or on YouTube, I would recommend putting them into the comments. If you're on Instagram, I would recommend adding them to the question mark thing. There's like a little question mark thingy at the bottom. I would recommend adding your questions there, because if they're in the comments, as soon as somebody logs in, it just kind of scrolls and scrolls, and it's really hard for me to go back and find them. At least with the question box thing, I can actually click on that and immediately see everything there. Okay. Rihanna, Singapore, right? If I'm not mistaken. So yeah, again, if you're coming in, throw a, oh, Tiago Mamba wants to be live. What's going on? I got one person trying to be live here. Can't put you live yet. Guadeloupe. Ooh, I love that island. So beautiful. So yeah, if you're coming in, whenever you're joining, throw in a hi and where you're from. And if you have any questions, throw them into the chats. And the best thing, honestly, actually, is there is a feedback form. I know I keep on saying this every single time, and it really means a lot to me. But not only that, that is one of the best places that you can express yourself and ask your questions in a way that's not public. No one else can hear it. It's just for me. And then I can really take the time to tackle that. Okay. Feedback form is magnagopal.com/feedback. Okay, that'll take you directly to the Google form, and you can fill in your information there, ask your questions there. Let me know what you thought about this session. Each session is different, so if you've already completed a feedback form before for one of the live Q&As, this is a new one, so I would really appreciate it. I know sometimes when we think about um, how we appreciate people, right? We think about how we appreciate them personally, but we don't necessarily think about how they feel appreciated. And so I'm letting you guys know right now that one of the ways that I feel appreciated is when you actually complete those forms. They don't take very long. And if you're here with me for an entire 30 minutes or an hour, however long this goes, and you get some of your questions answered, if you can take just an extra 2 or 3 minutes to go and complete that form, it would mean the world to me. Okay. All right. So we got Wade tuning in while driving to the airport. Oh, I didn't know you were leaving somewhere. All right. Hazen from Houston. Erica, first time joining. Nice to have you. Okay. All right. So, oh, sorry. I showed a comment randomly. Okay. So, one of the first things I wanted to talk about, actually just upcoming events. Anyone who's in Hawaii or on the West Coast wants to take a nice little vacation, there's a Congress that's happening in Hawaii, Bachata Expo, at the end of April, the 23rd, the 22nd weekend. And then right after that, if you're in Hawaii, if you're staying a little longer, or if you want to come down just for that too, I will be doing a musicality boot camp. It's a 4-hour boot camp that includes theory, understanding the structure of the music, understanding our bodies, understanding how we can apply the music and our understanding of it to our dance, and also understanding how to be creative. And then we get like a little practice session to play around. That is happening on April 30th from 12 p.m. to 4 p.m. in Hawaii. It's an in-person workshop. This one, unfortunately, is not going to be hybrid, live, and in person. So, unfortunately, if you're not there, you're not there. But if you can be there, or you know somebody who would like to join who's closer than you are, let them know, tell them to sign up before the end of this week, because that's the end of the early bird pricing. It got extended until the end of this week. Next week it goes up, and then obviously last minute is, you make your decision last minute, kind of get the least deal out of the whole thing, right? So Musicality Bootcamp, it is for all levels. It doesn't matter if you just started dancing. Sometimes what happens when we start dancing is, yes, the first inspiration is the music, and that's why we get into it. However, once we keep on dancing, we just start learning patterns, shines, and all these moves, and we almost forget that connection to the music unless it's drilled into us. But it is a lot of information. So if you can have this understanding of the music and the structure, this is something that you can practice not just when you're in class, not just when you're social dancing, not just when you're with a partner, but you could practice it at any time while you're driving, while you're in the house, while you're cleaning, while you're doing other work and you're just listening to the music in the background. It is a good way to start to train your ear, because much of what I do, and a lot of you would be like, oh, yeah, she's so musical. She knows all the songs. Actually, I don't. I don't even listen to salsa at home. I just have a keen ear to the structure of the music. So I'm always trying to listen to the music in a certain way to understand the patterns, the repetitions. What can I expect? Where is this part of the music going to go? And because I have trained my ear for the structure, not to just memorize songs, because again, like I said, I'm not listening to them all the time, because I've trained my ear for the structure, that allows me to pick up on the fly, even if I've never heard the song before. So for those of you thinking, oh, I don't know, musicality, that's next level, and I'm just a beginner, you can still benefit from this. The people that have taken my musicality bootcamp in the past, there are some testimonials that I had posted. You can go check those out on Instagram and on Facebook, I believe. um, that even as beginners have gotten this new outlook and insight into how to listen to the music, and it has very immediately changed the way they dance to it. So that's for Hawaii. That's coming up. Um, for my people who missed out on the Master Your Multiples program, we're already going into week 2. I'm excited about that. Um, I will be opening registration up for that again, probably in a few months. So if you want to get in on the wait list for that, you can go to spins.magnagopal.com or just go to my website, magnagopal.com. You will see a link to join the wait list. The reason I'm bringing it up is obviously not because you can join now, because enrollment is closed. However, I'm always trying to give tips to my students to get the maximum out of their practice. And there was this podcast that I was listening to. What is his name? Andrew Huberman, right? You can find him on Spotify and you can find him on YouTube and I guess wherever else podcasts are held. And he had this one about learning and about neuroplasticity. So the way the brain transforms itself and it's not a fixed state. Um, and in terms of learning, apparently, once you hit 25, your brain is not as plastic. Not that it's no longer plastic, but just that it's not the same as when you were a child. And so sometimes I realize the way we practice, especially when it comes to dance, but the way we practice is this intensity. Like, okay, I'm going to commit 2 hours today to just doing this. And though that's a great aspirational goal, it's not necessarily as effective to your learning as you think it might be. And what he recommends, and I can also see this personally just in the way I sometimes approach little tasks, is to take them in increments instead, in digestible chunks, to actually take like a small section, a small technique, work that for a small amount of time, and then come back to it later once your mind and your body have had time to process that information. So for my students, especially with spins, um, it's a tough thing to learn. It's a tough thing to practice. You get dizzy, you lose your balance and all of those things. Um, this is something that instead of approaching, especially spins, but anything else, instead of saying, okay, you know what, I'm going to do this for 2 hours, it's better to take that small technique, focus on that for a little bit. And when you hit that point of frustration, and not fatigue, right? Like when your body's physically tired or your eyes are just like everything is a blur now, that's fatigue, right? And at that point, everything you start adding on top of that is just kind of like building on quicksand, right? So you're building, yeah, you might have the technique and the knowledge that you're adding onto things, but since you're building on quicksand because of the fatigue in your body and in your mind, it's just sinking. You're not actually progressing. And in fact, you might even be learning bad techniques, right? You might be drilling bad techniques for yourself. So instead of doing that, when you hit frustration, you actually do want to push through that frustration. Like, there are a lot of people who, when they try something and it doesn't work, they might try it one more time and then be like, "Ah, you know what? I give up. It's not for me." I hear that all the time. And I hear that even more as I've been getting older and I have other friends who are getting older and that kind of like fixed mindset, which is like, yeah, I can't do it. You know what? That's for somebody else. Oh, that's a talent thing. They're just natural. But they fail to understand that a lot of those things that people start to look natural at today are things that they worked hard at, right? Things that they drilled, that they got frustrated with and said, you know what? I'm going to stick it out. And so that's another thing too when it comes to your practice with dance is that when you encounter frustration, and it happens to all of us, like it happens to all of us in one way or another. When you encounter that frustration, push through because according to Huberman, but also some other books that I'd read on neuroplasticity, that moment that you encounter frustration is your brain just saying, wait, I tried to do something and it didn't work, right? It's not frustration to the brain. It's a frustration is this emotion that we're feeling, right? And that usually comes from the older we are, the longer we've been on this life, and the more effective we are at certain things. That all of a sudden, when we're not effective at something, we just feel frustrated. We get this emotional rise, right? Um, but what's actually happening in the brain is that there was an intention and there was an action and there was an outcome that did not match the intended action, like what the intention rather before that. And so when you push through, you allow your brain to sit there and figure it out. And that's that neuroplasticity. That's where your mind is opening up to learning and becoming better at learning, not just whatever it is that you're working on in that moment, but anything, right? So let me go back to spins, to my master your multiple students or anyone who joins any of my workshops anytime. But to my students specifically, when you're practicing and you're trying to, let's say, do a preparation, right? And you're just not getting that prep, don't give up. Do it a few more times. Let your brain try and figure it out. When you hit fatigue, on the other hand, right? When you're like, wow, my muscles are sore, everything is really tight, and I'm not even able to stand properly, my foot's cramping, all of those things, yeah, take a break, right? But if you're just encountering frustration, push through it because you're going to benefit, not just in the thing that you're attacking in that moment, but pretty much anything else that you add on top of that after. Okay. Wow, got a lot of comments. Let me just go through this really quickly. If you have any comments about what I just said, or questions, feel free to throw that in there too. Got a few more people coming in here. Got some random people too. Okay. All right. Sorry, this is a little bit of a challenge sometimes to manage this just because I'm doing live on Instagram and on my Facebook profile, my Facebook page, and on YouTube. So please be patient with me. I will get to you. Okay. No comments here. This is the only thing that Instagram I don't like is that you got to scroll like a million times to find anything. Natalie said, that is so true. What a fantastic point. Glad you like it. I hope you can apply it. All right. So we've got Roxy. She's in the house. Nice to have you here. Benjamin asked, do you think the European dancing is more focused on social dancing versus the American scene? I'm not that familiar with the European scene, nor am I actually that familiar with the USA scene because I'm kind of really only in New Jersey. But I see performance teams everywhere, and I see a lot of social dancers every time I travel. So I'm not sure. Can't give you a clear answer on that one. Sorry. Benjamin, thank you. If you could actually put that into your feedback form as a link, that would be much better. Because I will lose all the comments here. Unfortunately, on StreamYard, they do not keep the comments. So as soon as this thing ends, unless I go and copy everything, go find stuff, I'll lose it. So again, my peoples, magnagopal.com/feedback or just go to my website, go to the contact section. There's feedback forms there. I would really, really, really appreciate it if you could take that time to share your feedback on the live chat at the end of the live chat. Okay. Um, CR said sometimes there are some pains and injuries that need to be addressed first, I guess. Yes, absolutely. Um, again, frustration to fatigue, two different things, right? They might both feel the same, but they're actually not. And if it's fatigue and if it's pain, if it's an injury, those kind of things you do definitely want to be paying attention to before you just push through, because you might injure yourself further, and that's not a good thing. I know, I've been there. I did not listen to my body, and I made things a lot worse when I had broken my toe, when I'd sprained my ankle, all of these things. Okay. So if you are injured in some way, find something, a workaround to that. Find some things that you can do to strengthen that before you push through that and have that grit, right? As Erica said. Okay. All right. Let's move it forward. Henry in the house. Hi, Henry. Again, whoever's joining now, please throw your location, where you're from. Are you joining me with a tea? That's what I'm drinking. I got mate tea, or something else. Maybe it's later, maybe a wine. Okay. So the next thing I wanted to talk about, I'm going to go into a question that I got. This one's a pretty simple question, but it allows me to segue into something else that I wanted to discuss. Um, James had asked me, when was my first time teaching? Now, this was in Toronto. I grew up in Toronto, and that's where I started dancing as well. I had I had kind of been doing some choreography stuff, so I was teaching the choreography to students on a student team before. Um, but my first workshop on my own was in 2005 in Boston. I went to Salsa Control's anniversary party, and they had a couple of, like, people who they danced with. They brought these artists down, and they told me, they're like, "Oh, Magna, you're so good at spins. Can you teach a spins workshop?" And I was like, might be good at it, but I've never taught it, so I don't know if I should be the one to teach it. And they're like, "No, no, no, you'll be fine. You'll be fine. Just tell them what you do, basically, right?" And I had freaked out about it. Of course, I'm like always trying to make sure I do my best and put my best out, because I don't want to give the wrong information, and I want my students to grow, and I want them to feel comfortable and feel like they actually accomplished something and learned something. So all this pressure I was putting on myself, I finally did end up doing that workshop. I think it was only 30 minutes that I stressed about for maybe a week before it, right? And the workshop went really well. That was my first time teaching. I'm still very, very thankful to them for that opportunity. It went excellent in terms of feedback from the students, and slowly, slowly the reputation grew. And now, today, I realize that much of what I do in terms of teaching is in workshops, my online courses, or intensives. It's very rare that I'm doing a one-off class, unless it's at a congress, and it's very rare that I'm doing just like your club classes, right? And I ended up having this discussion with a few people, right? There are lots of people who are out there who are instructing, who are teaching in a nightclub or something like that, and doing these beginner intro classes. And maybe the technique isn't that great. Maybe what they're teaching is not 100% what purists would say, right, should be taught. Or someone like me might be like, "Oh, technically, I don't know if I would teach that, because there's so many other things that they should be doing." And then there are other people, on my approach to the dance, where they have schools and they've been pursuing it on a really serious level in terms of teaching or training. We're like, yeah, these people that are teaching, they're just making the scene worse, right? By teaching this garbage in the clubs, and people don't even know how to dance, and then they go out to these other socials and think that they're amazing because they took a couple of club classes, right? Um, and I don't know how all of you feel about that. I'm about to tell you how I feel. I think there's a place for everybody in this community. Just like in everything in life, there is a place and there is a purpose and there is a need for everyone. Just like there is a need for a manager, in a company, there is a need for the janitor to make sure that things are clean. There is a need for your tech support. There is a need for someone who's the face of your company, for your PR, right? There's someone who's needed just for the finances. There's a need for every skill level and everybody. And the people that sometimes get knocked for providing mediocre or subpar instruction based on the standards of more professional or advanced dancers, that's actually the introduction. That's how so many people end up getting into this dance or bachata or kizomba or whatever. That's how so many people get into these dances. Because not because they were like, "Oh, yeah, salsa, that dance, I wanna get really good at it." No, they just end up at a club somewhere, going out for drinks with friends or see some happy hour and then, "Oh, free lesson after." They join that and then from there get exposed to this new world. So there is a place for everybody. And even if that instructor is a, you know, shitty instructor, they're still bringing people in. And those people get to decide what level they want to pursue this dance. Because some people, honestly, are satisfied with just knowing the basic step, even being off time, they don't even care. They're satisfied with that because that's all they need to have fun. Not everyone has the same ambition and the same pursuits as everybody else, right? I mean, I don't even have the same pursuits that I had before, right? So why would we project and push that on everybody else and assume that someone who is providing actually and catering to the need that's out there, it shouldn't be around just because the quality isn't that great. Okay. Um, what are your thoughts on that? I mean, I'm sure everyone started somewhere or another in getting into this dance. I'm curious how did you approach it? And what do you think of it now? Now that you've been dancing for as long as you have, how do you feel about those instructors, especially if you're an instructor or performer and you're on a much more advanced level in terms of technical skill? I'm curious what you think is the role of those people who are introducing dance, and maybe they are totally off. Maybe their timing, everything that they're teaching is wrong. Okay, everything that they're teaching is wrong. What do you still think about that in terms of our community? All right. I'm gonna go back and say hi and a couple of other stuff here. Okay. Um, Christian said very insightful. Thank you. Paulina from Netherlands, Rotterdam. Always lovely to have you here. NJ Salsa in the house. Steve Shamazi from Casablanca, Morocco. Never been there. I'll have to. It's on my list. Yeah. James said they get excited. Henry said, agree. Anyone helping add new people to the scene is great as long as they're not giving the scene a bad rep. Well, that's the thing. Okay. Great point, Henry. Appreciate that. Um, the thing is, we can't control what people do and what they bring to this scene. We cannot dictate the terms under which they do certain things, right? Now, a bad rep, maybe if they were being abusive or taking advantage of people or something like that, yeah, that would kind of give it a bad rep, right? If someone's harassing or like preying on people that are new, but we can't control that. Ultimately, like it has to happen before we even realize that it's there, right? And in that process, there are new people coming in. Unfortunately, and hopefully, there are other people that they can go to. Should there be an issue, should there be a bad rep situation, that there's someone that those people can talk to, and then that there's someone that they can move to away from the person who is kind of abusing that authority. But we can't really control that. So that part about like as long as they're not doing something, it's great to bring new people in. I mean, the as long part, we almost never have any control over that. Elegant Salsa, saludos from Puerto Rico. Hi. Okay, back to Facebook and YouTube here. Um, CR, glad I answered your question. Erica's drinking green and vanilla chai teas. Oh, a mix? I've never had that. Billy said, where I live in Ecuador, young people getting into salsa go straight to choreography and performance. I see them come into the salsa club with uniforms and their trophies, their shirts with professional written on the back. But when I start to dance with one of these professional ladies, I quickly realize they never learned how to dance salsa, i.e., leading and following. I hold my hand up, and the professional lady asks me, what is that? And I tell her it's a lead. And she then asks me, dot, 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 you got cut off there. Billy, I think the comment was too long for the uh, the thread here. Let me comment on that real quick before I go to the other comments. Um, you can be a professional at one thing and not a professional at another, even though they're related. Again, it really goes back to what is your pursuit, right? What is it that you want to achieve and what is it that you want to accomplish and give back and all of that stuff. There are people in this community who just want to perform, who see this art as a showcase of their artistry, their creativity, and their ability to perform. Okay. There are other people, myself, I would put into this category. I like the social dancing aspect of it. I really enjoy what I can do improvised with a partner on the fly and create something there in that moment. Beautiful as it may look or as ugly as it may look, I don't care. It's all about the connection for me. That's my pursuit. So those people who are walking in with professional, they are actually, in the performance industry, they are professionals. They have won those trophies. Those aren't fake trophies. They won them. But social dancing is obviously not something that they care to get into, right? In those situations, if you encounter someone like that, I would have fun with it. Instead of making it like, "Oh, I thought you were a professional," and giving this attitude or even in your facial expressions being like, "Pff, I'm a professional. Yeah, right." Right? Instead of having that attitude, just have an open um, energy about you and make it fun. Ultimately make it fun and answer the question, even if it sounds like a dumb question, because maybe that's not how they learned it. And now here's your chance to provide that insight in a pleasant and an inviting way that maybe because of that experience with you, because they haven't been social dancing, all they've been focusing on is performing. Maybe because of that experience with you, they're like, you know what? I want to get better at social dancing. I had a really good time with that guy that I danced with. Even though I didn't know what to do, he made me feel so comfortable and he was really accommodating and he didn't judge me in any way. All of a sudden, you are the funnel that's bringing new people into the community for the social dancers. Okay? Um Richard asks, how can you improve your skills for leads? I'm taking classes for a long time, but just have a hard time moving from beginner, intermediate to intermediate. Okay. I'm going to see if I can address that momentarily. Antonio from Madrid. Hi. Janice from Aruba. Hi. Dushi. Hasn't said my first class was in a cafe, but the instructor was so passionate it was impossible not to be inspired. Fantastic. And look, you're here today. Right. Um, is salsa as a dance growing? I hear that kizomba and central bachata is taking over. Salsa's still growing. You can't replace salsa with kizomba or bachata. I'm sorry. There's no dance that can replace salsa. None. Like the closest might be West Coast swing, but even still, salsa is just really dynamic in a different way from all other dances. And if you want to pursue another dance, sure, by all means, go for it. But if you think that another dance can replace that salsa experience, you're fooling yourself. Wade said, in the beginning, I started to take classes just for the basic one forward, one back. I described the journey with different phases that spiked my curiosity to learn everything. Exactly. That's where we kind of came from, right? Thanks to those individuals, indeed. Um, Erica said, I believe a general disarming needs to happen across the board, including our leading environments. Bad teachers are still trying, regardless of their flaws or wounded egos that may complicate things. If a community works together to create a loving environment suitable for growth, growth will surely follow. Brilliant point, Erica. Thank you for sharing that. Okay, I am going to go into this. More technically, sound instructors have to be ready to offer fundamental classes to the new dancers if they want to obtain more instruction. Absolutely. Okay, cool. Alexei from Brazil. Maybe this problem about the social and performance thing is that you have that very clear, but a lot of people don't because the community doesn't talk about it much. That's a great point too, right? It's the community. Your environment really does dictate a lot of what you think is the norm, what you think is important, what you will pursue. If everybody is performing, then that's what you would think is what this dance is all about. If everyone's social dancing, then that's what you think this dance is all about. And unless you're traveling and meeting a lot of people around the world or having a lot of international instruction and visitors and guests coming to your community to show you something different than what you will not know. And so I always put this back on our teachers and our instructors and the leaders in communities. It is our job to introduce that, if not through our own knowledge, because it doesn't mean that we know everything. I sure don't, right? But at least I can tell you that there are these other options available. I might not be the one to guide you to, okay, we're going to do a competition routine, but I can tell you there are these options. There is that thing that's available if you want to do that. And if you do, here's somebody else who can help you, right? So as instructors, and maybe this works a little bit more in one direction than it does in the other, which is social dance, like instructors who are all about dancing and building dancers don't really have a problem directing people to performances, right? To teams and, oh, you want to join a team? Oh, that person has a team, go join them. But I don't know how much instructors or dance company directors do the same with saying, you know what? If you want to get better at social dancing, this is a really great instructor who breaks these things down and understands the body and understands connection. You should go take classes there. I don't know if they just hold on to their students and say, you know what, we'll teach you everything, right? So again, something that we can't really control. I mean, we can have these conversations, these discussions, and all of you listening to it can take this and bring it back to your community. If you're instructors, you start to offer this to your students as information. And if you're not instructors, if you're students, maybe you can ask, right? That's really the only way. It's through conversation that we can move forward. Mauricio from Argentina. Hi, hi. Richie from Holland. Okay, so let's get into the topic that I want to talk about. And this is about the lead follow dynamic, right? And of course, it's already 12:38. I answered like two questions and it's already past the time. Um, the lead follow dynamic. I'm going to base it uh, a lot of what I want to say is kind of from this chat thread that I had. The video itself, for everyone who's on Instagram, you can go into my reels and you can find it there. I think it's like third or fourth reel. I'm dancing with Uriel Garcia in Florida. And I said like trial and error leads to creative something. I don't know what I captioned it as, right? But something with trial and error. Okay. And if you're on YouTube, that's the best place because you can actually see the common thread there. If you go to YouTube, onto my page, youtube.com/Magna Gopal, and you go to all the way to the bottom, there's shorts. It's like a playlist. And I think it's the third or fourth short in there. Really short clip, like 10 seconds, 15 seconds, trial and error with Uriel Garcia about creative musicality. Okay. Now, the comment that was posted, it's lovely, was yeah. I said, yeah, creative musicality through trial and error. And somebody commented and said, yes, this is called self leading and it is dangerous for the girl. If you are not comfortable following, then learn to lead, but don't be a nightmare for a leader, right? So pleasant. I love how kind people are in comments. It's really amazing. Now, I'm going to read you the entire thread so that you can kind of follow just in case you can't log off and go, or you don't want to log off and you want to stay here with me. I replied, I said, interesting perspective. I think the dance requires adaptation on both sides, lead and follow. I'm quite comfortable following and leading, and in both roles, I look forward to my partner's creative input. Person replied, again, self leading is unnecessary styling during partner work and is not only confusing for the leader, but also dangerous for the follower. As a YouTube salsa sensation, love that part, you are setting the wrong example for followers. The pioneers of couple dancing foresaw all of this, and that's why they laid down the etiquettes. I replied, I appreciate your input, but the pioneers in any industry or activity could never truly foresee the evolution of their undertaking. You are welcome to take a different approach, but mine will always be to empower dancers, leaders, and followers to develop a solid foundation so that they can truly express themselves. And if a leader who considers himself advanced is so easily confused, then perhaps he needs to project less and reflect more. And then the reply to mine, which I didn't reply to this, I was kind of done with it by this point. His reply was, your parameter for an advanced leader is not based on musicality, lead, turn pattern, shines, but on whether he gets confused and turned off due to self leading of a follower, then I don't know what to say. The pioneers of partner dancing foresaw this problem, and that's why they created a section for solo shines so that both can express themselves. You are not empowering either the leader or the follower. What you are doing is confusing and turning off the lead and misguiding the follower into a risky situation, especially in a fast dance like salsa. Self leading is a bad habit. So before I continue, I would love your comments. I'm going to take a sip. So everyone heard that comment thread. I'm just curious. I mean, what are your thoughts on that? You agree with that person? Do you have your own opinion on it? What do you if you saw that video with Uriel, there's like a little twisty turny thingy. How do you feel about that? Have you danced with me as a lead and I've done something crazy? How do you feel about that? All right. So I'm gonna take a sip. We might go a little bit over time today. I mean, we're already over time. I always say that these are supposed to be 30 minutes and we're already at 42. So yeah. We might go a little bit over time, but I'm curious. So give me your thoughts. I'm gonna have a sip of my mate from Argentina, actually. Natalie said, project less and reflect more. Yeah, yeah, that's a good one, right? I should write a little bit more on that. Interesting perspective. I try to be very diplomatic in my response because I'm not. Um, this is another one that I'm gonna. I gotta write this one down for next time about the reason for diplomacy and what I say and how I say it. All right, let's see. What do we got here? Natalie said, I love your perspective on being open to and pushing dance and the roles within dance to evolve. What's the point if we can't be creative and involved? Absolutely. Erica said that person commenting is in some serious boxes in prisons. Yep, that's what I would think too. Deeply insecure about anything outside of safe parameters where they feel they are able to shine. I think they're headed for some serious awakening. I would agree with that. Cecile said, actually enjoy the input from follows. Beautiful. I'm really glad to hear that too. Okay. All right. Um, I'm going to break this down into 5 parts. Of course, I wrote a whole bunch of stuff in my mind maps. I wish I could share it I'll take a little screenshot of it and I'll post it in my stories or something for you guys to see. Uh, oh, we have a couple more comments. Hold on. Let me address these first. Uh, Jairino said, creativity gets stifled by excessive application of socially constructed rules. Beautifully put. And where did I go? And then we got Nancy T. I disagree with this comment. I myself have tried unexpected styling on the dance floor with a partner. And yes, partner at times is surprised, but always pleasantly and adds to creativity on both parts. Exactly. Again, project less, reflect more, right? And then Claudia said, in Zouk, there are dancers that switch the lead, follow back and forth, and it is agreed upon before the dance. Not for everyone, but it does exist. That's beautiful. I mean, I've done that, the switch back and forth when I'm leading, um, follows who lead, but very rarely with guys unless they can follow. When this term has okay. So let me go to my points here. So first point that I'd like to address is why do I do that self-leading you want to call it? I don't think it's really self-leading because there's a lot of that stuff that could not be led actually even by the leader. Um, but why do I introduce a lot of these things? Why do I challenge this lead and follow dynamic? And for me, it's because the dance is a conversation, right? Ultimately, in my opinion, it's a conversation. I'm not here to be lectured by anybody, right? I go to school, and even in school, when I was in school, a good teacher is not one that just sits there and talks and goes off of a script and does not pay attention to the students. And if the student doesn't get it, they're like, whatever, I got something to say, and that's I'm gonna say it in the way that I'm gonna say it, and I'm not going to attend to your need in this relationship, right? So I'm I mean, I'm a big fan of conversation in the dance. And that means basically that I can listen to you, but I might have something to say, and I would hope that you would extend me the courtesy of listening to me as well. And considering how long now that I've been dancing, I'm not a beginner, right? In many ways I could be, but in some ways I'm not a beginner. So yeah, I have actually opinions and thoughts now. It's not just a bunch of questions like, what do I do now? What does that mean? What does this hand raise mean? What does this mean? Right? It's not that kind of conversation. Now it's really like, hey, I was thinking maybe we could do this, right? And then even with a beginner, it's not even to say that it's your level of skill and all of the things that you know that should dictate whether you should be listened to. In fact, as a beginner, you should especially be attended to. And a good lead would be paying attention to those unspoken cues, right? Not just nonverbal, because dance is pretty much nonverbal, but the unspoken cues, the things that are not very clearly indicated. So something like a wince, you do something and the person's like that. So r- that's a feedback. That's them, your partner, saying something to you. Or maybe there's a confusion, like, I don't know what happened. That's feedback. That's your partner saying, I don't understand what you just did, right? And if you wanna just blow through that, then you're not having a conversation, right? What you're doing is you came on the dance floor to basically dance with, like, a broomstick. You'd be better off dancing with a broomstick if that's your attitude to what this dance is supposed to be. And in that sense, I mean, you should just be paying for your dances, right? You'll be like, "I want absolute obedience, and I don't want any input, and I'll give you $100 for this 5 minutes. Can you please not say anything?" Cool, I can. I could probably do that, right? But otherwise, if you're dancing with somebody, you should be looking for feedback. Everything you say is not a command, it is a request. And your follower is going to tell you either in how they respond, whether it's through confusion, whether it's like following it perfectly, whether it's adding something a little bit extra or a little bit different. That is the response to your request. And that's where you're going to get that conversation in your dance. The second part um, is is okay. So I'm gonna get to the comments in a section in a second. Okay, let me just I want to get through my these 5 points and then we can discuss it a little bit further. Okay, the second part is the same thing that I had added into the comments for this person who had sent me whatever this is chat thread, right? Is that trial and error contribute to the evolution of this dance. Like, if you look at videos of salsa, let's just stick to salsa for now because that's what I kind of know. If you look at videos from the 60s of people dancing in clubs, they're doing a lot of shines. There's so much flavor. There's a lot happening, but they're not doing nearly half of the patterns or even like 10% of the patterns that you see on the dance floor today, right? So things have evolved. Now, how did they evolve? Somebody had to try something. right? Somebody said, oh, you know what? I usually give you this, and somehow you turned a little bit more, and now my hand is behind your back. I wonder if I could lead that. What could I do to actually lead that properly? Let me try it again, right? That's how our dance has evolved to where it is today, and it's going to continue to evolve. And it's only going to be through trial and error. And so my approach to it is that evolution. I not only want to do what I want to do to see and test myself, but I want to see what can be accomplished, what can be created in this dance, and how can I contribute to that evolution of this dance, right? And are mistakes made? Yeah, absolutely. Do people get hurt sometimes? 100%. You know how many leads that I've danced with who are trying something new have twisted my arm, or pushed me off balance or bumped me in the head? All right. The things happen, but that's also a part of that's just the risk that it comes with the territory of trying something. And I feel the same even about myself. Right? I do try different things. Have I fallen? Yes, I have. I've fallen before. I remember even recently, I think it was just like last summer or something. I was at a social and I tried something and I miscalculated the distance between me and my partner and I landed on my back. I got right back up and I continued dancing. I understand that when I'm trying something that it's possible it might not work out. Sometimes it doesn't work out where I'm on the floor, okay? That's not that often because now I've just improved my body awareness and my ability to adapt, but also to recover. Mid fall, what can I do to not fall, right? Um, but yeah, that's part of the risk, right? That's unfortunately that's how it comes. Now, usually where those risks might be taken, if you're fortunate enough to have a dance partner that you're always practicing with, this is your person you're teaching with or performing with, and you can try all those crazy things with them and oh no, that hurts, that doesn't work right, and then okay, what would work better? Oh, if you lower your hand earlier, now it doesn't feel like a sharp pain in my shoulder. Okay, great, got it. Now they take that nice refined um, movement and take that onto the social dance floor. And so now they're trying something new, maybe with not as much risk to their partner, right? I don't have that luxury. I don't practice with somebody at home ever, right? I go on the dance floor. Everything I try is in that moment. And most of the things I try are based on the moment. So it's not even a matter of something I could practice because it's not a practiced move. It's not a choreographed move. It is a feeling that I base it off of. So one of the things with this trial and error thing, first of all, most of the risk is to me. Okay. If I'm trying something, most of that risk is to me. And two, there are things that you learn the better you get. I mean, I'm not saying everyone should just go out there and just do whatever the hell you want and expect that someone should cater to you. No, you should be focusing on yourself. You should be understanding your fundamentals. You should know where your body is at any given point in this environment, in this space, in this time, where the music is, how you get back into your basic, where your partner is, what is your connection, what is your relationship, what is your distance, what is happening in that connection. You should know all of these things. And then as you start to drill that more, you start to play more. I didn't start when I first started dancing doing all the crazy stuff. I probably was doing crazy stuff, but really not intentionally. I just didn't know what the hell I was doing. Okay. But as I got better, as I started to understand that connection with my partner and feel that momentum and feel like, where are things going? Where is their weight? What could I do with this weight based on this positioning? Can I play with this? Could I lean back without falling just based on the fact that my partner happens to be going the other direction? Right? Those kind of things are things I've trained myself to do. And that's where I get my creativity. And that's where I can play when I'm dancing with somebody and try something new because there are a lot of factors that I have considered. So this comment that this person had made about, oh, especially in salsa because it's a fast dance. Well, think faster. Okay? That's what you get to improve when you try is you start to learn to think faster. You adapt your ability to create to the medium that you're in. And salsa is a fast dance. You're right. And that's why I can think so quickly because I've adapted that creativity to the speed of this dance and to the speed of the things that are changing within the dance. Um, that's part two. The third part to this whole lead and follow dynamic is, let's see, is being open minded and adaptable because it takes you as a lead or as a follow to new levels. Okay. When I'm dancing with somebody as a follower, um, even some beginner leaders, right? They're people who don't really know that many things and they maybe haven't learned specific shines or something like that. And so they're kind of just doing their own thing. And me, being the more advanced dancer, dancing with them, I'm not sitting there and saying, "Oh God, you're such a nightmare to dance with because your shines are terrible, you're off time." No, I look at that as a moment to test myself. You know, if I'm so good as a follow, can I follow someone off time? Because if I'm that good, right, if I can follow anybody, I should be able to follow anybody, right? Not just your advanced dancer who's got the perfect execution, but also your beginner dancer who doesn't know what the hell that they're doing, right? So it allows me, being adaptable and being open-minded to those situations allows me to now take my dancing to another level, to challenge myself and to question how much do I know and how well do I know it and where could I improve and what could I do. And sometimes the improvement is not a technical improvement. Sometimes the improvement is just an attitude. Sometimes the improvement is just a mindset, because that's usually where we need the most improvement as dancers, is how we think about and how we approach our connection with another person, and not this feeling of like you're not doing what you should be doing, but rather, hey, that's not what I expected, but this is pretty cool, this is new, sure, I'll go for the ride, right? um and I want to give two examples. I wish I could show it, but it would be really hard because I got Instagram here and I cannot share screens there. Uh, but I'll tell you one as a lead. Okay, going back to this nightmare of a follow thing that this person said. Right, going back as a lead, there was this social LVG in New York. If you don't know about it, it's second and fourth Sundays of every month. Great social, great music. Um, Lots of people from out of country, out of town, great local dancers. If you're in New York, it's definitely a social that you want to visit. The other one that happens on Sundays is Jimmy Anton's. That's been around for decades, longer than I've been dancing. Um, anyway, so I was at the social, and there was this girl there. She, I guess, had just moved to town from somewhere else. I'm not sure. She'd known about me. I did not know who she was. And somebody said, "Oh, could you should ask Magna to dance, right? 'Cause she can lead." So she asked, we danced, and while we were dancing, she was so much fun. First of all, okay, I'm not gonna say names. Yes, I should ask her before I say her name. I don't think she would mind, but I want to respect that. So she was like funky and doing all these other things and great. I was watching that and I was like, oh, I wonder if I could do something like that. We play around. And then I was doing some movement and she over rotated with a lot of momentum and did not have her balance and her footing. And she was falling. Okay. And she had such a good grip on me. She took me with her. So we didn't end up on the floor because I was kind of like holding her up, but I also ended up like kind of falling a little bit. Okay. Now, does anyone want to guess what happened from there? I mean, I feel like the delay on these things is the part that I don't have patience for. I have patience for so many things, but waiting for an answer is like, okay, I'm just going to answer. First of all, the dance continued. The dance did not continue with any awkwardness either. I wasn't like, "Ugh, you just embarrassed me. I'm Magna Gopal and I'm dancing here and you just made me fall." And, you know, what a nightmare of a follow, right? For you doing your own thing. No, I lifted her up. I asked her if she was okay. I asked her if she wants to continue dancing. She was like, yeah, yeah. And I was like, great, let's go. We still got half a song left. We had a great dance. This person today That moment was such a funny moment for us. She's a really good friend of mine today. And I want to say that that moment and the way that both of us reacted to that moment, that mishap, is why we have the friendship we have. Because there was respect, there was consideration, there was kindness, there was empathy, there was no judgment, there was an understanding that, yes, of course you can try. Of course you can do something, you know? And yes, not everything works the way you want it to, but I'm glad you made an effort. And ultimately, first of all, I'm not hurt. But even if I was hurt, I know you weren't trying to hurt me. So why would I put that on you? Right. And so, yeah, we ended up becoming like really best buds. She's an awesome human being, and I love dancing with her. I love all the stuff that she comes up with, and I have to, as a lead, pay attention and see, like, oh my God, I don't know what she's gonna do. Oh, she lost her balance. Cool. How do I now adapt even faster? So my reaction is not, oh, salsa is a really fast dance, and so I can't keep up, and so followers shouldn't do anything because they're gonna confuse me. No, I look at it as, yeah, it's a fast dance. Yeah, things happen quickly. I need to improve my reaction time so that I can react quickly to anything that's happening. And that's what my dance is about. That's why I do what I do, how I do it. People are like, "Oh yeah, you're just always balanced." Yeah, I work on it. I train it. I try to make sure that I can react quickly. That's something we can all train as leads and as follows. Um, Point 4. Just 2 more points. And yeah, I know, I'm sorry, we're over time. Uh, is as leaders, I am sorry to say, even advanced leaders, uh, you do not have all of the answers and you do not know everything. I don't care how long you've been dancing. None of us do. Okay. You are learning on the fly in that moment with somebody. You are learning something new because even if you know your dance, you don't know me. Even if you know me yesterday, you don't know me today. So many things change in every person's life that every time you meet them, it is something different. So, whatever you thought you knew today, it might not apply. And there are many times that I have danced with great leads, okay, musical leads also. All right. And there's video proof of it too, where I insert a musicality element into it because what they have thought they could do would not work. And you can see it in the video. Like, for example, there was one dance I had where the leader was going for a break from spins. And it was like da 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 boom, right? But the I stopped the lead, right? I stopped that spin where it hit the music because I know what I'm capable of doing, but he did not know what I'm capable of doing. And he was extended away where my back was to him. So he was trying to stop me in the spin on a break with my hand like this. You must be crazy. I'm not breaking my shoulder for any break, right? So I had actually increased my rotation or blocked it or something like that and like put my hand where this wouldn't happen to me, but we could still hit the music. So there are a lot of times that I can feel the intention. I understand what the lead is trying to do. I know that he's trying to hit something in the music or play with something, but he's what he can do with his body, he has not figured out how to do with mine, right? And that's another element of leading musicality, musically, right? You can know what to do with music. You might know the music inside out. You might know how you could hit it. But even half the time when I see a lot of leads breaking something to the music, it's not even as precise as they would like it to be or as they think it is. Right? Visually you see it and you're like, I know what you're going for, but you didn't miss it completely, but you didn't really hit it either. Right? So there's this um not 100% perfect execution based on their intention and their movement and the outcome. And you're also trying to do something with me and you don't even know me or how my body's moving. That's bold, right? So You don't always know everything. And those moments, especially if you're dancing with someone who is an advanced dancer, why not open your mind up to the possibility that this person could take you to another level, right? Why not open your mind to the possibility that, ah, she's a musical dancer. I wonder if I can hit the music with her, through her, together. Because ultimately, when we create something, when we do something, it's us. It's our dance, right? So why fight that? And then finally, last point, and then we're gonna go into comments, okay? This part about how to not make it a nightmare for the lead, right? There are 2 parts. I kinda touched upon it before. First, there's the follower's role, okay? As a follower, if you are taking this approach to being more creative and being musical and inserting your own personality and your expression into the dance within the lead and follow dynamic, then you gotta know what you're doing, right? And you gotta know at least enough about yourself that you can make recoveries. So maybe you don't know what you're doing because you're trying it for the first time. That's fine. That video that I was talking about with Uriel, that's in my reels where I'm doing this trial and error thingy, creative musicality through trial and error is what I captioned it. Okay. Um, that particular movement, I had never done that in my life. I did one part and I was like, oh, the song is still going and he's still got this voice that's continuing. I want to hit that. How can I hit that? Like if I stop right now, my movement would do this when his voice is still going like this. So I just went for another rotation. Never tried it in my life. Right. So yeah, okay, you're trying something new. But the reason I tried that, and you'll see in the video, I'm not off balance. Like, I know where my arm can extend. I know how much my back can bend, while staying connected to my partner. I know what he's doing and what I feel in his hand, right? So I know if he's pulling at me, which means that I can't go for something that's back bending because I'll end up on the floor, or if he's not pulling. And if he's not, then that's my opportunity. Can I throw something in? And usually what happens in that moment is when I do something, I'm creating a connection with my partner. And that now takes it back to the leader. If you feel something, respond to it, right? There are times that followers grip, right? There are leaders who are like, oh, this grippy follower, right? Okay, there might be a technical element there that the follower's not aware of and she's just holding really tightly for no reason whatsoever. But there might be a reactive element there, which means that she's gripping because she's nervous, because she lost her balance, because something hurts, something is not right. And if you can see that instead of a judgment on the follower as poor technique, but say, I wonder why. I wonder what happened. What is there anything I did? Is there anything I can change? Let me pay closer attention in this moment to what just happened, right? Then all of a sudden you can respond and react. And in my case, where I'm being creative, well, it's just you feel something change in the connection. And instead of you continuing on with whatever you want to do, you actually end up adapting. Say, ah, I feel something. Oh, she's kind of stationary. And I see now that her body is doing something. Okay, well, let me hang out. Like, what's the big deal, right? For a lead to do that for a follow so that she can insert something as well. Because the lead follow dynamic, as it has been followers just waiting around for you as a lead to do whatever the hell you want. Oh, you want to do all of this stuff? Okay, cool. I'll just do my side basic right here and wait until you tell me, oh, I can style now. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Right. I don't mind that. I think it's cool, but let's make it a conversation, you know? And I'm not doing my stuff all the time, constantly through the dance. I insert it when it makes sense, something to the music usually. And most of the time, I can do it within the time that you need me to be somewhere else. You want me to go from A to B? Well, I'm just going I'm taking I'm drawing out the A and the B, right? It takes me different ways that I can get there. I have different paths to the same destination, but I will be there where you need me to be. And sometimes I won't. And you know what? Sometimes that happens, right? Sometimes a lead doesn't even give a lead where it should be. And so I'm adapting, right? You wanted something, you didn't actually give the indication properly. I can fill that space. I can wait. I can shuffle my steps a little faster, get there a little bit sooner because even though you let it late, I can be there on time. So followers are doing that all the time, right? So, there's I don't understand why there's such a big thing with like, oh yeah, followers shouldn't be. I understand if you don't know anything, you're just like, oh, Magna said be creative and I'm gonna do whatever I want, but you don't even have your balance, you don't have your timing, you don't have your equilibrium, you don't know what your body is doing, you don't know what your right arm's doing, what your left arm's doing, you have no concept of connection, you don't know tension and resistance, you don't know elasticity in the dance, you're not even looking at your partner. I'm not telling you to go and do whatever the hell you want. You need to figure yourself out first, right? And you need to be working on yourself all the time. It is not a level, end of the game level that you arrive at. You get to one level and then you just keep on expanding and growing and learning more. And if you're not doing that, then I don't think that you really should be doing random shit, trying to be creative in those ways because you've lost the essence of where all that creativity comes from, which is growth, which is awareness. And so if you're not focusing all that on yourself and you just want to randomly insert it, it's not coming from the right place. And that's where mistakes happen. That's where people do get hurt. Um, right. So that would be the nightmare part. And frankly, going back to my comment before, which was, you know, project less and reflect more. The people who sit there and say, "Oh, this is a nightmare. You're a nightmare for a lead. This follows a nightmare. That leader is a nightmare." Like, don't project. Have you danced with this person? And if you dance with that person, again, could you reflect on yourself? Is there anything you could do that could improve that relationship and that experience? And if you haven't danced with that person, then like, do you think that everyone's having a nightmare of an experience? Because I'll tell you, most of the dances that I have, it's all smiles. It's a lot of fun. Yeah, it might be confusing. Yes, I might, take someone off guard. Yes, we might have some hiccups in the dance, but for the most part, we have a great time. And so you, who I don't even know who this person is, usually they're faceless, right? Someone created an account 1 week before and then all of a sudden wants to engage in a comment thread, right? But um, you haven't danced with me. Like you're saying you're a nightmare, but you can see the fun that other people are having. So everyone else likes nightmares, I guess. Right. So yeah, don't create nightmares, first of all, out of something. See if you can approach things in a different way. See if you can change your attitude and your mindset to what you are experiencing and what you're encountering with someone in front of you. Um, and how can you contribute to something better? Because ultimately, it takes two, right? There's one person that's trying something that's coming from the goodness of their heart, and then there's another person who accepts that or who can sit there and say, no, no, I disagree. You should not do that. Comments. I'm sorry, I talked so long. I told you guys that this is for those of you who were like following me and stuff. I told you that this is a topic that's very near and dear to me because I believe very strongly in the conversational relationship between a lead and a follow, and I also believe in that conversational relationship on multiple dynamics. Not just on the dance floor, but any relationship, even if it's hierarchical. That there is conversation that needs to happen there for true growth for both people and for whatever endeavor that they are getting together to do. Also, before I continue and read off some of these comments, if you're here, if you've still been here, I know I talked a long time. I'm sorry, not sorry. uh, Couple ways that you can support. You can just hit like. My YouTube channel is really the place to go because that's where I post all my empowered videos in full length and everything. Feedback form is really, really important. So magnagopal.com, that's my website. You can go to the contact section and find it there. Otherwise, you could also go to magnagopal.com/feedback and it'll take you directly to the Google form link and you can put in your thoughts. I would like to know what your thoughts are on this topic, and if there's anything that you got from this that has changed the way you would approach it, or changed your thoughts on dancing, or as a lead, or as a follow, or any other lead follow dynamic, anything that we talked about today. I would appreciate that. If you want to support in other ways, you can also basically you can buy a coffee if you're on Facebook or on on YouTube. If you go into the description, there's like this link. You can buy a coffee. So instead of me drinking my mate, it'll be a virtual coffee that I will share with you. If you are on Instagram, you can, I believe, you can buy badges here, so you can support the channel with that. That's always an option too. But main thing, the most important thing for me is really the feedback form. I appreciate that time that you guys take for sharing that. So getting into the comments, let's see what we got here. Okay. Okay. I'm going to start on Instagram first. Um, um, oh, lots of comments. Okay. Let's see. Henry said, I wonder if leads that after uncomfortable with strong women in general address uncomfortable with follows that play or improvise. Oh, that's an interesting point too, right? Um, a lot of the attitudes that we have in dance tend to come from our experience in life. And so if we have certain insecurities when it comes to our relationships with other people, they will most likely surface when we are on the dance floor with anybody and everybody. And that's again back to that point about project less, saying what things are, and reflect more and wonder why you think that things are a certain way, or why you feel that things should be a certain way. Great point, Henry. Christian said it takes two to cocinar some good salsa. Absolutely. Absolutely. It does take two in a partner dance. Creativity from both dancers is always welcome. Yep. Okay. Baldelia, love you. Love you, Magnalicious. I love you too, bud. People who are close to feedback, dance with a broomstick. Facts. I mean, you see them in movies, right? They flip the broomstick over and then he's got the nice hair. Hi, Ahmed. Dondo in the house. I could listen to this all day. I appreciate that. I'm feeling like I'm going all day, so I do kind of apologize here. I'm just going to get through a couple more. Debraj from Calcutta, India, enjoying the chat, not saying anything tonight. All right, cool. Let me go over to our Facebook and our YouTube. Um, okay. Wow, lots of comments here. So pardon me. Give me a second. Billy asked, do you think Terry is a good model for men to learn from? His turn patterns, for example. Of course he is. He's a fantastic dancer. He's musical. He's got amazing patterns. Most of the instructors out there, any professional, they're good models to learn from. They all have something to offer and they all bring something to the table. So yeah. Wade, I would say the best dances I've had is when the follower shows you more to where we can take this interaction. No one is looking to do 100% of partner work. Right. And I'm going to comment on that, Wade. That's an excellent point. Yes. So those are some of the best dances for me too, where we can see where this dance can go. There are people who focus just on partner work though. And in those cases, again, instead of projecting, instead of saying, oh, you are telling me this is all I can do, sometimes I ask, why? Why are we only doing partner work? Why is this person not open to anything else? And then I say, maybe they're not comfortable with that, right? Not everyone's comfortable with shines, for example. A lot of people just completely freeze in those moments. And so if you're more comfortable with partner work and you're easily thrown off with something, or are constantly doing something, then can I adapt to you, right? I don't need to insert my musicality into every dance, and there are plenty of dances that I don't. And it all depends ultimately on that connection with my partner. What do I feel? Do I feel an energy of like, I'm going to dictate this dance, or do I feel an energy of, I'm not sure, this is all I know right now? I don't mind catering to that. In fact, I would gladly I would gladly do just basics. Basic step, right turn, left turn, cross body lead. Basic step, right turn, left turn, cross body. I will do that for an entire dance with somebody without any judgment or any look on my face because one, can I have fun with it? That's up to me. No one dictates if I'm having fun or not. I choose. So can I adjust my mindset and adapt that and make this fun? And two, can I connect with my partner? And ultimately, that is what it is to me, right? Is can I give my partner a good experience and not make them feel like they're being judged for not knowing more than these four patterns, for example, right? Archana said, styling is okay, but compromising the other person's role would be as good as imposing either way. Well, I think it depends on your connection with somebody. Because if you are styling and you're just not connecting, yeah, that can get frustrating after some time for anybody. Um, just like a lead, who's just constantly doing stuff but not really leading properly, that can get frustrating for a follow. Most of what I do, I try to insert within the dance. I try to do something that between, you know, crossbody lead beginning to crossbody lead endpoint. Do I have time to play with something? Yeah, sometimes I do. Sometimes I hear something in the music. Sometimes I don't. If I don't hear something, I'm not going to force it into the song. If I hear something and I want to do something, I make sure to check where is our relationship, me and my partner. Is it possible? If it's possible physically within the dynamic of the dance where we are, is it possible mentally? An attitude. Would my partner feel comfortable with this? What is the energy that I feel from my partner? Can I insert this here without my partner feeling like, oh my God, what the hell happened? Or I can't believe you, there's a lot of factors that I process that I take into consideration before I do something. There's nothing that I'm doing just, whoop, I thought of something, I'm going to do it. No, that's what I'm saying to all my follows out there who want to be more creative and expressive during the dance, especially during the lead and follow connection. There are a lot of things that you need to consider. And if you are not capable of considering all those things and processing them within the speed of the dance, because yes, it is a fast dance, then I would not recommend that you start doing those things now. Because if you can't process those things, then you can't react to what has changed. And everything in this dance is about that reaction time. Wade said, I heard someone not liking the word of lady styling or male styling. This individual called it decorated technique. It does add an endless way to your personality as style. Sure. I can see that. I don't really I mean, I've had times when people are like, "Oh, can you do a lady styling workshop?" I'm like, "I don't know what that means." I'm like, "I don't know, first of all, if I would be your traditional lady styling anyways, but I'm like, but I'm a lady and I'm styling, so technically lady styling, right?" So yeah, I mean, I don't bother with those things, though, like the terminology oftentimes I'm like, I don't really care. I just do my own thing. Those are those like uh the terminology and the definition, sometimes we get lost in that. And we're not actually focusing on what we should be doing, which is the creativity aspect of it. We're just sitting there, no, how do you define, this thing? Like, well, is it lady styling? Or that's lady styling. Yeah. Michael said, hi, Magna. I've been a fan of yours for so many years. I've always loved your natural style, intuitive approach to your dancing. Thank you very much, Michael. Andrienne said, totally agree with you. Unfortunately, some leads are so mechanical, rigid, and set in their ways that they can't appreciate being challenged by creative followers. Yes, 100%. And I would like to add, again, back to the element of connection. When I'm connected with the lead, even the rigid ones, because I've had those personalities too, I don't insert. I'm not fighting you. I'm not going to fight you because you're already coming in with this aggression and this attitude of this is the way things are done. Me fighting you is only going to make you more defensive. Me fighting you is only going to make you more stuck to your stuck in the ground with what you think should be happening. What I do is I invite, right? I invite in a playful way. I'm like, I gave this example actually to my friend who I was having this chat with. I said, you have your executive, let's say, right, in a nice suit and tie and everything like that, executive. and this is the meeting that you're about to have. Now, I'm not gonna be like, "Oh, you should take off that suit and tie. We should go play in the sandbox." They can be like, "No, this is a professional meeting. We need to be focused, da, 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 da," right? If I start saying, "No, we gotta go to the sandbox," I'm gonna get a lot of resistance, and I'm not trying to get resistance. I don't want resistance. I want you to join me voluntarily. I don't wanna force you, and I don't wanna fight you. So what I do is I usually play in a way that maybe, like, the next room has the sandbox, right? And there's a glass. I'm like, "Hold on, I'll be right back." And I go in the sandbox and I'm, like, playing and I'm having all this fun, and you can see how much fun that is. And most people, when they see it, they're like, "Yeah, man, I feel pretty stuffy in this tie and this suit. I do wanna go play in the sandbox." And then they come in, right? Most of the people that I dance with, even first time, even if they are like big names and all that stuff, who usually you see them dancing with other people and everything is that, 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 that. This is how it happens with a lead and a follow. When they dance with me, it's a very different dance. And it's not because I'm forcing it on them. It's because I've invited them and they have accepted my invitation. Erica said, I want to dance with you. I'd like to. One day we'll make that happen. Thank you for your efforts. This is amazing. All that you have spoken about transcends so many important tools you are empowering our people with. Empowerment coaching, by the way, I know I talk about the dance stuff, but if you are interested in mindset empowerment coaching, that is also something that I do privately as well as with small groups. You can find all of that information on my website, magnagopal.com. You can just send me a message through the contact section and I can give you more info. Michael said, I think there's a great example of what you're saying. About 8 years ago, had a video of you dancing at an exhibition where you danced with 5 different partners to the same song. Oh, I don't even know. Hmm. You'll have to maybe leave that link in the comments or something, Michael, because I can't remember. Oh, follow even if the lead is offbeat. Very confusing for me. I always try to set them up on the music. Sure. I mean, that's fine. You can try, right? But there's a skill to dancing offbeat. Like, you see some people who are like, "Doo, boom," completely off I don't know how they do it. It's a skill. I genuinely look at that and I'm like, "How the hell how do you not hear that downbeat?" Right? So, it's a skill. So instead of, you know, approaching it as if, "Okay, I'm the person who's more advanced, I know the timing," and you try and put them back and they still veer off. You try and put them back, but now they're fighting you because they feel like they're on the right time, even though they're off time. Just see if you can dance off time. um, okay, during the dance, you adapted to each of those partners' different dance styles and their style of dance during that one song was extremely different. Oh, Michael, please share that link. I honestly, I'm drawing a blank right now. Elizabeth, brilliant advice. Thank you. Glad you enjoy. Cecile, thanks Magna lost to Ponder as a lead. I'm glad. I'm so happy to hear that. Archana, loving everything you said. Hazen, it really is a beautiful partnership. I love the idea of both parties being able to contribute something to the dance, which I think requires confidence. Yep. Archana, I think the dance floor strips everyone naked. It's almost impossible to hide your strengths or your insecurities when you really dance. Yeah, absolutely. William Landers, awesome insights. Mahalo. You're from Hawaii? I think you are. Mahalos. Thank you in Hawaiian dialect. All right. Well, last little point. Ultimately, I believe dancing is so multifaceted, Jairenia said. I believe dancing is so multifaceted that it would be simplistic to reduce it to a single dynamic, such as lead or follow. It's about flow and synergy, fixed versus a growth mindset. Absolutely. I agree with you 100% there. Um, well, before we wrap up, again, thank you for your participation. Thank you for your questions. Thank you for being here today. I know we went on quite some time. The replay for this will be available on YouTube. So if you are joining in right now and you kind of missed all of it, it'll be on YouTube. Shortly, it takes a little while to process. If you want to show your support, one of the easiest ways is to hit like wherever you are. Go subscribe to the YouTube channel. That always makes me happy. Feedback form, magnagopal.com/feedback. or just go to my website and go to the contact section. There's a list of feedback forms there. Please take a minute. You've spent, I don't know how long all of you have been here. Some of you have been here for the entire hour and a half now. If you could take another 5 minutes from your side to share something with me through that feedback form in as much detail as possible, I would very, very much appreciate that. If you want to go above and beyond and buy me a coffee, there's a link in the description on Facebook and on YouTube of this live. So you could just click on that and get a coffee. And if you're here on Instagram, you can always do the badges as well. That's a nice way to support the channel. Finally, for those of you who just joined for the first time today, I do this every month, not on a set specific date, but I try and get to it usually on Sundays. Speaking of which, in the feedback form, if there's a better time, like, you can write that in the other section. There's like a section, is there anything else you'd like to share? If there are other times that would work really well for you, more than a Sunday afternoon, let me know. If I can make that happen in my schedule, I can always do that too. Sunday works for me for now, on this afternoon time. And what else? Yeah, leave your questions. Next live chat will be sometime in May on a Sunday, probably. I post all of this stuff usually on my Instagram and on my Facebook and on my YouTube when I launch it. The best way to stay on top of all of that news is to sign up to my newsletter, which you can do. Again, everything is on my website, magnagopal.com. At the very bottom, there's a newsletter link. You can just type in your email and get added to that. I always send my mailing list first, whenever I'm posting all of these things or coming up with something new. Second thing, for the Master Your Multiples program, if you did miss this first enrollment, no problem. I will be offering it again in a few months. The wait list is open, so if you want to be notified of that, go to magnagopal.com and you'll see the link to join the waitlist. And finally, my people in Hawaii and on the West Coast, if you are going to be in Hawaii or live there already, April 30th, I will be doing a Musicality bootcamp. So speaking about this whole thing, not quite in the same way, that's another intensive on partner work and connection, but they all kind of combine together. So maybe I'll come back in the future and do the partner work, and then all of it, slowly starts to click. But I'll be doing a 4-hour musicality boot camp. We're not going to be dancing for the entire 4 hours. There will be a break. It is open to all levels of dancers as well. So even if you're a beginner, you're not going to be overwhelmed. Everything's broken down in a very structured way that you can really take that home and process it and apply it into your dancing and into your life. And on that note, I would just like to say thank you very, very much for joining me again from all over the world. We had so many people from all these places. It's such a pleasure and a privilege to be able to share this time with all of you. I hope you have a lovely rest of your weekend. I will see you on the flip side. And remember, if you need any other information, my website is the best way to contact me. If you do want private coaching, also through my website, and we can discuss that. Okay. Have a great day, everybody. I just stay here and drink coffee and wave, because usually I just exit and then people are saying bye and I'm like, hung up the phone. Remember, magnagopal.com/feedback. What classes would I recommend from my website? Um, oh, what? See, we'll talk about so many other things and forget about the other important stuff. You could go to, I have courses which are more structured and progressive. And then I've also got my membership, which has a database of tutorials. So if you go to my website, magnapal.com, you should be able to go to the dance section of my website and you'll see there's like a link to the database membership, where you can sign up, and every month there's like another tutorial added to that. It's a lot cheaper. Or you can, if there's a course there that you want to do, there's a more progressive outline to that as well. And most of those courses are lifetime access once you get it, and they're like drip release content. So you should be able to find all of that there. Okay, cool. All right. Peace, everybody. I hope you guys have a great day, a great weekend. Share the YouTube. If you feel a certain way about these things, these topics, and some of the points that I made resonate with you, or you think would help other people change or adjust their mindset, share that video. I know it's a long one, but you in YouTube, you can in the comments add your timestamp of what part you want someone to listen to, and just throw that in there into the comments, and then share that link to somebody and say, look, go check this out, man. You could use listening to this. Okay. All right, bye everyone. Saying bye on Instagram. You guys were my first to say bye to. Bye. And have a fantastic afternoon. Thank you for being here with me. All right, look it up. Awkward moment.